Spring is the season most home gardeners celebrate, but it is also the season that quietly kills more worm bins than any other time of year. If your red wigglers seem sluggish, are disappearing, or just are not breaking down food the way they should, one of these 7 springtime mistakes is almost certainly to blame. Spring weather is one of the most deceptive forces your worm bin faces all year. Afternoon temperatures can climb into the 80s, while that same bin can drop below 50 degrees by early morning on a clear spring night. Red wigglers thrive in a consistent range of 55 degrees to 77 degrees, and temperature swings outside of that window slow them down, cause serious physical stress, and at the extremes, kill them quickly and without warning. The mistake most gardeners make is assuming that once the frost is gone, the danger is gone too. A plastic worm bin sitting in early spring sunlight can build up lethal internal heat in just a few hours on an otherwise pleasant day. Checking the internal temperature with a simple compost thermometer every few days throughout April and May is one of the easiest and most effective protective habits you can build this season to keep your worm population safe. Spring energy makes every gardener eager, and that eagerness very often turns into overfeeding. Red wigglers can process roughly half their body weight in organic material per day under ideal conditions, but flooding the bin with more food than they can handle creates a buildup of rotting material. That rotting material overheats, turns anaerobic, and begins releasing ammonia gas that is toxic to worms at even very low concentrations. A bin that smells like sulfur or rotting eggs is a bin that has been overfed and is on a fast track to crashing. The fix is simple and immediate. Stop feeding, pull any obviously rotting scraps to the side, and add a thick layer of dry shredded cardboard or newspaper directly over the remaining material. As spring progresses and your worm population grows in size and numbers, their appetite will grow alongside them, and only then should you gradually and methodically increase your feeding amounts. Spring rain is wonderful for the garden, but it can quietly destroy a worm bin from the inside. Worms require a consistently moist environment because they breathe through their skin, but there is a critical and important difference between moist and waterlogged. A saturated bin forces oxygen out of the bedding, creates anaerobic pockets that suffocate worms, and establishes conditions where harmful bacteria thrive and multiply rapidly. The easiest way to test your bin's moisture level is the classic squeeze test, and you should do it regularly throughout the rainy spring season. Grab a firm handful of bedding from the middle of the bin and squeeze it tightly in your fist. Only a few small drops of water should come out. If water runs freely in a stream, your bin is too wet and needs immediate attention. Adding dry shredded cardboard, cocoa coir, or crumbled dried leaves will absorb excess moisture and bring the bin back to the ideal range within just a day or two. Spring gardens produce a surge of fresh green material, pulled seedlings, young grass clippings, early weeds, and fresh vegetable tops. And the temptation to add it all to the worm bin is completely understandable. The problem is that fresh green material is extremely high in nitrogen, and a sudden overload of nitrogen throws the entire carbon-to-nitrogen balance of your bin out of alignment. The bin overheats, begins producing ammonia, and becomes an environment where worms cannot survive within just a few days. Balancing fresh greens with dry browns is the single most important feeding habit you can develop for spring vermicomposting. For every volume of fresh green material you add to the bin, match it with an equal or slightly larger volume of dry carbon material. Shredded cardboard, aged newspaper, or dry straw all work excellently. This simple, consistent practice keeps your bin smelling clean and earthy, prevents overheating, and maintains the biological balance your worms need to thrive throughout the entire spring season. Before we cover mistakes 5 through 7, if any of this is helping you protect your worm bin this spring, go ahead and tap the like button right now and subscribe so you never miss a tutorial. It genuinely helps this channel reach more home gardeners who need exactly this kind of information. Now let us keep going, because these last 3 mistakes are the ones most people never see coming. Winter is long, and many worm bins receive minimal attention during the cold months. By the time spring arrives, a large percentage of the bin's volume has already been converted into finished worm castings, dense, dark, and biologically rich. When those castings build up and are not removed, worms run out of productive space to move through. Feeding activity slows dramatically, reproduction drops, and the most active worms will begin trying to leave the bin entirely in search of better conditions. Spring is the ideal time of year to perform your first castings harvest and give your bin a clean, active, fresh start. Harvesting clears essential space, introduces new bedding for worms to work through, reinvigorates the bin's biological activity, and hands you a supply of extraordinarily rich vermicompost, right at the exact moment your spring garden needs organic nutrition most. A bin that receives regular seasonal harvests stays consistently productive, balanced, and home to a thriving worm community all year long. Warmer spring temperatures wake up far more than your garden. They wake up every fruit fly, fungus gnat, ant, and moisture mite in the area. A worm bin that has been sitting through winter with food scraps near the surface becomes an immediate magnet for pest activity as temperatures rise and the air warms. Fruit fly populations in particular can go from completely undetectable to entirely out of control within just a few warm spring days if the bin is not properly managed. Consistent burial practice is the most effective and chemical-free defense against spring pest pressure in any worm bin. Every time you add food scraps, bury them several inches down into the bedding and immediately place a fresh layer of dry carbon material over the entire surface of the bin. A properly fitted lid, consistently controlled moisture levels, and clean bin edges eliminate the exposed organic surfaces that attract pests in the first place. Getting ahead of pest pressure in early spring is dramatically easier and less frustrating than trying to eliminate an established infestation once it has taken hold. This one catches even experienced vermicomposters completely off guard every single spring. As days grow longer and warmer, many gardeners move their worm bins outdoors and set them in sunny spots to take advantage of the pleasant weather. The problem is that direct sunlight, especially on a dark-colored plastic bin, can raise the internal temperature to lethal levels in a matter of just a few hours on an otherwise comfortable spring afternoon. Worms are highly photosensitive, will flee from direct light, and simply cannot survive in a bin that reaches temperatures above 84 degrees to 85 degrees. If you are moving your worm bin outdoors for the warmer season, always choose a shaded location without exception. Beneath a mature tree canopy, under a covered porch roof, against the north-facing side of a building, or below a shade-cloth structure are all excellent options. Dappled shade that keeps the bin's interior consistently within the 55 degrees to 77 degrees range gives your worms exactly the stable, comfortable environment they need to thrive all spring and summer. This is a 5-minute location decision that protects months of careful, patient work and keeps your entire worm population strong and productive all season long. Springtime vermicomposting does not have to be a guessing game, and it does not have to be complicated. Temperature swings, overfeeding, waterlogged bedding, a sudden overload of fresh greens, a neglected castings harvest, rising pest pressure, and direct sun exposure are the 7 most common, and most completely preventable, reasons worm bins struggle or fail during the spring season. Knowing what to look for puts you already well ahead of the majority of home vermicomposters out there. Your worm bin is a living ecosystem, and spring is one of the most critical transition periods of the entire year to pay close and consistent attention to what is happening inside it. Small adjustments in temperature management, feeding habits, moisture balance, and bin placement will reward you with a thriving, highly productive worm bin all season long, and a continuous supply of some of the finest organic fertilizer any home gardener can produce. Every single fix in this video is simple, low cost, and completely within reach for any home gardener at any level. If you found these tips helpful, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more home gardeners find this content right when they need it most. Subscribe to Grow Green and Live Clean so you never miss a practical, step-by-step organic gardening tutorial. And drop a comment below and tell me, which one of these 7 springtime mistakes have you been dealing with in your own worm bin? Your experience might be exactly what someone else in this community needs to hear. We grow better when we grow together.